I'm Emily Leiker. This is Ben Goessling, and we just wrapped up the third day of practice for this week. We're going to get a little bit of a rest day tomorrow, and today, and honestly all week, it has been the defense dominating practice, and today I think was the worst of it, if you want to put it that way, for the offense, but man, the defense has looked good through these 3 days.
Yeah, they sure have, Emily. I mean, today was probably the most significant example of this. You had Byron Murphy blitzing into the backfield from the slot, breaking up a J.J. McCarthy pass, kind of almost Andrew Van Ginkel style, where he jumped it on a screen pass and was able to knock it down. Could have been an interception. Multiple sacks. All four quarterbacks were picked off in this practice, including Sam Howell at the very end. Theo Jackson picked him off to end the practice.
And Dwight McGlothern's third pick in a row.
3 days in a row. Yep. So we had sacks. We had a TFL from Byron Murphy on Jordan Mason.
Yeah.
We had interceptions. We had just really a showing for the defense that they've had a good week overall, but this one was probably the most significant of them all.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about the outside linebacking group, but this was a good day where you really saw the other guys step up as well. Like Ivan Pace had some plays in there, and that secondary, obviously, and getting some of the new faces in there, and the different faces in Theo and Nudie, as they call him out here and stuff. And it was funny that JJ, he wasn't the one who threw the pick to Dwight McGlothern, but he had shouted him out earlier in the day when he was talking. You talked a little bit to Jonathan Grenard after practice. How hyped up was he?
He was pretty fired up. He basically said that a lot of this stuff is to send a message both to the defense and the whole team about what this group can accomplish. Jonathan Grenard, of course, was the guy that kind of captioned the phrase "more is required" and made that kind of a rallying cry for this team in some ways. And I talked with him for quite a while, and he said, you're either going to hear me or feel me in practice just about every day, either if I'm making plays or celebrating, because he believes this can be a team that contends. Even with a young quarterback, he's basically said there's no reason for this to not be a team that's playing towards the end of January. Obviously, when C.J. Stroud was a rookie in Houston, Jonathan Grenard was on that team, so he has seen young quarterbacks matched up with good defenses that can be successful right away. And there's certainly an intent from him and an edge that I think is very much trying to send a message beyond just his own performance on the field.
Right, and that's one of the things watching training camp, right, is that you're watching a top 5 defense.
Yep.
This defense looks much the same as it did last year. They're going to be just as good. The offense is where we have some of those questions still, and so you have been researching, talking to people about, like, how do you kind of weigh what J.J. McCarthy's doing in practice when he's going up the likes of Grenard, Van Ginkel, Byron Murphy, all of those guys.
Right, yeah. I mean, it is always this difficult thing, and I'm writing about this for our newsletter on Friday, and one of the things I thought back to is the last time we did this was about 11 years ago when Teddy Bridgewater was the starting quarterback, and the question every single day of that summer was, how's Teddy looking? Everybody wanted to know kind of how are you gauging his progress in training camp, and what is that going to mean for the season? It's not quite like how a hitter is performing in spring training, because there are so many different things you are practicing against. In this case, one of the best defenses in the NFL. He's trying to do a lot of new things, still trying to master a new group of offensive linemen, no Justin Jefferson out there. So there's just a lot of variables to it. It's worth considering all of that, especially as we filter through all the social media content that leads you to kind of one extreme or another. There's a lot of nuance to this and a lot of detail that goes into it. J.J. McCarthy talked about it today, basically saying, I'm only getting better by practicing against a group like this and learning from it every day. So ultimately, if he's ready to go on September 8th, how he looks on July 29th doesn't matter a whole lot. And I think this defense has eaten a lot of young quarterbacks for lunch, certainly is capable of making it so that you have some bad days when you're practicing against them too.
You mentioned the O-line in there. We should say that Christian Darrisaw was back in team period today. That was something that we had been waiting for, and I think had kind of been expecting Friday after they have their off day, so it was a little bit of a surprise. He didn't do all of the reps in those different sets, but to be back out there with a month to go until the season is promising.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think the fact that he went down late October last year, and the fact that you're less than 7 months until he's back in at least a few team drills is certainly a good sign. They've been very optimistic about his progress this whole spring. I mean, every indication we've had is that they're excited about where he's at. The fact that he's able to do some of those things, even if it's still splitting things with Justin School, is a good sign to this point. That it would certainly continue to suggest that he'll be back and ready to go for the opener against the Bears.
As we've mentioned, the Vikings have an off day on Thursday, and then they'll have a 4-day stretch between Friday and Monday. Monday, of course, is that night practice that I know gets a lot of fan attention and people excited for.
Night practice, not a scrimmage. My annual plea. It is not a scrimmage. Don't call it a scrimmage.
Night practice. I did not say scrimmage.
You did not. This is from the fans, and there'll be questions from some members of the assembled media referring to it as a scrimmage.
Well, you can come out to night practice if you have tickets. I've heard it's sold out.
It is sold out.
If you're going to be there, come say hi to us. We'll be around. Follow all of our work on thestartribune.com and then also on the Star Tribune Instagram and on the Strib Sports Instagram and the Star Tribune YouTube.